Welcome once again, everybody, to Blockbuster Mentality, the show where we dive deep into the world of cinema. I'm your host, Ben Secord, and today Dave and I dive deep into the 1975 classic One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, starring Jack Nicholson and Louise Fletcher. The Imdb synopsis for the film reads, a criminal pleads insanity after getting into trouble again, and once in the mental institution, rebels against the oppressive nurse and rallies up the scared patients. One of my favorite movies of all time. And once again, can't wait to hear Dave's thoughts on this. So sit back, relax, let's talk some movies.
So I hope everybody enjoyed our musical movie 3-episode arc, but we are done with that. We are moving into one that is really not music heavy at all, but is a real quality film. Another one by Milos Forman, which we did. He directed Amadeus.
Yeah, who would have thought we would do 2 Milos Forman films before we've done 2 Spielberg films?
I know, right?
I think we have.
And we might have another Milos Forman movie in the hopper where we talked about doing Man in the Moon.
Oh yeah,
he directed that as well. Because we talked about, I think maybe a couple episodes ago, about doing a combo episode of doing Man in the Moon and then that Jim Carrey documentary.
Right.
Milos Forman is in that documentary, and Jim Carrey is pissing him off to no end.
Yeah,
it's really hilarious.
And Milos Forman's kind of like passive about it, though. He's just like, I just kind of got to let him do his thing. And
he's like, Jim, he's crazy. This guy's nuts. I don't know what he's doing. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's just like pissing him off. It's so funny because Jim Carrey is just an insane method,
right. But yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, man.
1975.
Yeah. Yep.
I read this. I think I mentioned this as well. I saw this once in high school, and I read the book. And they played it, and I really...
Oh, so it was a book you read for class?
It was for class, then we watched the movie.
Yeah.
Is this rated R?
Yes.
I'm surprised. I think I was only in like sophomore English or something.
Look at that.
Maybe they gave us a waiver or something. But there's really... there's no nudity or swearing, really.
There's
a little bit of language,
there's quite a few F-bombs, yeah.
But nothing like crazy. It's not dropping like really hard stuff, I don't think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw this and I really didn't give it a fair shake. And this is my first time coming back to this movie. How many times have you seen this movie and how did you get to it?
Whoa, man. This is one of those movies that I first caught a glimpse of, I think, like on AMC when I was pre-teenager, I'd say. It sucked me in, even as like, I think maybe 11 or 12.
Oh, wow.
It sucked me in. And it's, the edited version. And I like caught like half of it. And I was like, wow. I had no idea what it was called or anything because there was like no info or guide, back when I was that age. I'm an old person, but yeah, I had no idea what it was called. So I just kind of years went by and I saw it again on TV when I was like, 18 or 19. And then it sucked me in again. I was like, all right, what is this movie called? So I looked it up, found out what it was called.
Oh, wow.
And then I went and watched the whole thing all the way through. And just have been in love with it ever since. Probably have seen it like 6-7 times since then. It's just a movie I constantly go back to as just something I can just always put on and just be enthralled by.
Actually, I'm wondering now. So this one, we were talking in prep about the number of Oscars that it won, and you said 5, right?
Yep.
What were the 5 that this thing won?
Yeah, so it won 5 Oscars, the Big 5 they call it, the 5 big categories. It won for Best Picture, obviously, Best Actor in a Lead Role, Jack Nicholson, Best Actress, Louise Fletcher in her lead role, Best Director, Milos Forman, Best Writing, Screenplay, Adapted Screenplay because it was from a book.
Yeah.
And so those 5, and it's the first one of 3 movies to win those big 5 Oscars.
What were the other 2, Ben?
Thank you. I'm so glad you asked. The first one ever was 1934's It Happened One Night. You familiar? You've
I have not seen it. No.
Nor have I.
We'll just say like Jack Lemmon was in it, just out of
sure.
Just
we'll say
like
that. Yep. Humphrey Bogart.
Okay, sorry.
Orson Welles was in it. No. But It Happened One Night. That was 1934.
Okay.
And then 1975, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest won the Big 5.
Yeah.
And then it did not happen again until 1991's Silence of the Lambs.
Wow.
Anthony Hopkins, Jodie Foster.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it has not happened since.
Incredible. And then, but this is also, the 5 is writing, so the 5 could be either original or adapted?
Right, yes, or writing, yep. Overall. Which,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think adapted or original, it's still a good feat to overcome. But
yeah, I'm so glad we got back into this because this is one, like I said, I really didn't give it I know the material lightly, but I don't really remember appreciating. I know I didn't appreciate it when I saw it and read it. So I was just kind of screwing off in class.
Yeah.
And it was actually the end of this movie, I do not remember one bit.
Okay.
And yeah, so wow. And it's another movie which is just a really cool ending. So this is Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Wow, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He is Jack Nicholson.
Right.
Yeah, he's just everything you think of. It reminds me of this is a 70s movie, so you get your Nicholson, you get Robert De Niro. It reminds me of them in their like prime of their life, sort of being themselves.
Right, yeah.
Because we get De Niro later, and we all know about him. We know about as good as it gets for Jack Nicholson, and the guy at the LA Lakers games,
right? Joker.
Yeah, the Joker, which is, but this is really a very raw 70s Nicholson.
Yeah,
very charismatic, really kind of a jackass. You're just drawn to this man,
right? Yeah,
charisma.
This is how Nicholson really made a name for himself. I mean, this is Jack Nicholson. I mean, this is, I think, the role that he was made for. I mean, this is the role that best suited him. And
yeah, you couldn't get The Shining, I don't think, without something like this.
Right? Yeah.
He's building on a persona and his career to get to that point. You need to. This is his way. We're so far away from that as of our age, going through all the stuff he was in through those years. Maybe we should do more Nicholson films.
Yeah, I would like to. I mean, there's so many out there.
I've never seen Easy Rider.
I have not either. Not either.
Okay.
Have you seen 5 Easy Pieces?
I have not. I'm not into
you're
Nicholson
not a Nicholson
canon.
guy? Okay.
I went more De Niro and Pacino and stuff like that.
Chinatown?
I haven't seen Chinatown. That's a Polanski one, right?
Yeah, you need to see that. Chinatown's really good. But yeah, I'm not out of the ones that we've mentioned so far. That's the only one I've seen.
I think I went more directors. I would see all of Coppola stuff, so,
right?
or see
sense.
like Scorsese.
Right.
I went more director than actor, unless it was De Niro. I'm sure you're kind of the same way. Although you've seen more than I have of Nicholson, so it'd be interesting to get into Chinatown. I hear is great.
Have you seen Terms of Endearment?
No.
Wow. Okay.
I'm really not.
Yeah. It was just that one I didn't see too long ago, but yeah, that one's really good. Really sad, but
even as good
really
as it
a
gets,
Nicholson
I think
film.
I only saw once.
I don't think I've seen As Good as It Gets all the way through.
Well, he has like maybe the best line in all of cinema.
And what's that?
Which is he's talking to Helen Hunt. I think they're out to eat, and she's like, he's a writer, and she's like, how do you write for a woman? And he's like, I think of a man, and I remove all accountability or something like that.
Oh yeah, I do remember that line. Yeah,
I remove reason and accountability, and there's your woman.
Yep, and that's Jack Nicholson right
Classic.
there. That's classic Jack Nicholson, who has not been in a film I think since 2011. I guess he's retired from acting. He's one of the few who have done that now. Gene Hackman's another one.
He is
Sean Connery.
Well, I remember. Yeah, Connery retired a while ago.
Yeah,
Nicholson is officially retired.
Yeah.
Oh, so The Departed was what, 2007,
2006,
6. Okay, so what was he in? Was that not The Bucket List or one of those?
I think it was one after that with like Owen Wilson. I don't even know what it was called. But yeah, it was one with Owen Wilson.
So he's out.
Yeah, he's done.
That sucks.
He's done. Yeah, I know. I mean, he might make a comeback. Who knows? But
Hackman, I love too.
Yeah, Hackman's great. Yeah, I'd like to get into some of his films. But yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is just one of those movies that's stuck with me all these years. And again, another movie I always revisit. Let's get into the movie. Let's. Obviously we talked about Jack Nicholson a little bit. This is the role. Basically, almost seems like it was written for him. Obviously, it was a book first. So this movie actually, Kirk Douglas got the rights to the book originally in the 60s. I guess he tried to work something out with Milos Forman even then. I guess something happened
for him to play McMurphy.
Yeah, and produce it. Yeah, Kirk was going to play it, and then something happened. It fell through the wayside, and then Michael Douglas got a hold of it. Michael Douglas, who I think won Best Picture as a producer for this.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, this was his first Oscar. Let's see here. Yeah, Michael Douglas. So yeah, Michael Douglas then picked it up from his father in the early 70s, and he's the one that got this movie going. He produced it, and instead of Kirk Douglas. They went with Jack Nicholson. There was other people, I guess, who were supposed to, who they would rather have than Jack Nicholson, but Jack Nicholson ultimately got it.
I wouldn't want anybody other than Jack Nicholson, but
absolutely
I would say
not.
I don't think Kirk Douglas would have been bad in this role.
No,
I think he actually would have been. It's rare. Normally, where you have someone in mind that you've seen and you're like, okay, no, I couldn't imagine anyone else. I could see Kirk Douglas.
Yes, definitely. I guess by the time this came out, though, they said he was too old for it.
He's still alive, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like 103 or something.
The guy's he's gonna live forever.
I know. Jeez Louise. But yeah, just an interesting, little history
Him and Martin
of the movie.
Sheen, I think they're gonna become living corpses. But
I know. Yeah, and it's funny because I always get those two mixed up for some reason.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so Jack Nicholson plays McMurphy. I mean, this is essentially we typically do our pick six, and we're trying to move away from that a little bit and just to try to go through the movie a little bit with a little bit less structure.
Right.
But this movie is about a man in a mental institution.
Right. Yeah.
What we learn is he's I guess he's from prison. Right? Is he?
Yeah. So he comes from I think they call work camp. So they basically
halfway house or jail or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And he thinks he's gonna get one up on them. Get the edge on them by saying, "Oh, I'm crazy," and because he thinks the mental institution is going to be a smooth ride, cakewalk, exactly. Get through my 68 days and I'll be out of here.
So what happens to him here? So he goes to it's just easier for him, and then he'll go back to, or he'll be done with his time.
Yeah, he thinks he'll be done with his time. Like he thinks he's just going to be here the rest of the 68 days.
It's like sort of a form of probation or something.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Live out my time here instead. Yeah. So, but it's Jack Nicholson.
Right.
He's being nuts. I mean, he's acting like a nut. He's being that crazy, really intense.
Right. Yeah.
Smiling, cracking jokes, being like inappropriate, being just too much.
Yeah. He first gets there and he gets unhandcuffed and he's like all giddy, kisses the guard.
He's like dancing along to the music. Remember that when they're walking in because we find they play the same goddamn song every day at a certain time of day. And the first time he hears it, he's like blah 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 blah. It's like no big deal to him, right?
Right. Yeah.
It reminds me of kind of what he did as the Joker in Batman.
Yeah,
a little bit of that.
Definitely. Yeah. He's like, this place is easy. Like this is like a resort for me.
Whatever.
Yeah. And little does he know, though. Little does he know he'll have less freedom here than he did in actual prison.
Yeah, it's a prison of the mind and a prison of your choices get limited so much because you are deemed crazy, and if you belong here, that means you're crazy, right? This is the assessment. You can't be a faker. They all think he's faking,
right?
And I don't know really if he's crazy or if he's just insane or a bit sociopathic.
Well, yeah, I mean they have that conversation with all the doctors later on in the film just about we think he's dangerous, crazy, no. And other people saying I think he's sick. I think he is sick.
I think he's got something wrong.
We could do. Yeah. And then
he's not normal.
Right, exactly.
He's not just like a violent man. Right. There's a bit of something off there, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
I wouldn't say he needs to be committed.
Right,
but
exactly. Yeah, he's not mental institution off. But yeah, there's something about this guy that, first of all, he's in prison for statutory rape of a 15-year-old.
Yeah, but, but the way he explains it to the doctor, she doesn't look like any 15-year-old that you would know. And he goes with the Eminem argument, which is if there's grass in the field, play through.
That's Eminem, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Eminem reference on a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest episode. Look at that.
I mean, it's essentially what he said.
Yeah, that's true.
She's a woman downstairs, so play ball.
But
which is inappropriate and wrong and illegal.
Yes, exactly. We frown upon that on Blockbuster Mentality.
We do not want to give the wrong impression here.
But I mean, there is something wrong with him. But that he gets in that conversation with the doctor after McMurphy's kind of walking around and he shows, his playing cards with the naked chicks. And that's when he gets, kind of the guys to follow him. They're the patients there are, drawn to him in a way. And that's kind of the first sense of, the kind of the liberating he does of their minds, just getting them to think for themselves, which is great, which we'll obviously get into.
Yeah. They're all stuck in their routines and their own just way of thinking. It's almost like, it's like the place makes you crazy.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, being in that environment.
Right. Like you said, it's like a prison of your mind. Like again, you're physically in prison before, but now you think you have more freedom, but really your mind is in prison.
Yeah, they essentially limit your choices and limit what you can do, and you just shrink into. It's like you lose your intelligence.
You lose your mental freedom.
Yeah, all that what makes you a human being really gets stripped away from you.
Yeah, this movie's powerful in that sense. And but yeah, just the way the life McMurphy brings to this place is just it is something that draws me to it as a viewer. But
he injects a total vitality to everything because he just starts busting up all the assumptions of this place that everyone's been operating under.
Yeah, he has the wherewithal to actually say something and to bring up again, for them to question and think for themselves.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some good quotes here that we'll get into. So again, he's walking through, and then he meets with the doctor, and right away, he's got this charismatic way about him.
The doctor seems intrigued by him.
Yeah, definitely. Like he's normal in a sense. Like he can carry on a normal conversation. Like he brings up the fishing picture. Like what is that? A 40-pounder? Like like he could get by everyday life.
But he also has you don't want to pry too far under the surface.
Yeah.
He's defensive, but smiling as he's defensive.
Yeah.
He really doesn't let you in. And there's definitely something bubbling under that Jack Nicholson smile.
Right.
That's either devious or nasty or, something bad.
Yeah.
Not, more than statutory. I get the feeling that this guy can be not necessarily that he will do anything, but he is capable of doing almost anything.
So do you think he's a good guy?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't know that he's a good guy. He's representative of bucking the system, bucking an oppressive system, and that's good. But I don't know that he's moral per se. That he has he's a good moral person.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
I think the key here is he's full of life.
Yeah.
He's actually living, Yeah,
and
he teaches these guys to live.
Yeah, in a building of The Walking Dead, he is certainly a breath of just air and life.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So,
but I wouldn't call him good.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, especially the doctor even says you have 5 arrests for assault. Talks about the statutory rape.
But he knows how to live, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's really what almost all of these guys need is just another chance at life.
Right.
And what we learn is that most of these men are voluntary.
Yeah.
They've chosen their position.
Yeah, that's the one moment I love is just when Murphy thinks he's getting out in 68 days, and the guard is like, "What are you talking about? You're here. You'll be an old man by the time you get out of here." And that's when he finds out Nurse Ratched has the power to be able to hold him there.
How about that Nurse Ratched, huh?
Oh man. So yeah, Louise Fletcher. Yeah, we haven't really mentioned her yet. Yeah, just she's got this. I almost included this in my top 5 Oscar performances of all time because just.
I could see that. There's this sort of calmness about her.
Yeah.
And not explicitly threatening. But actually, I think one thing I do remember from the book, if there's one takeaway, was describing the hatred for Nurse Ratched. She's very devious, but very subtle in her manipulation.
Yeah.
And I don't know that all of that comes through in the movie, but me having that knowledge helps. But yeah, she's very we have these rules, and she has a way of just cutting everybody down.
Yeah.
That she'll destroy someone with a sentence that she's not being on its surface openly hostile to them.
Right, but I think she knows she's using it in a way that because she knows it'll work.
Oh yeah, of course. She's a total monster.
Right.
But on the surface isn't,
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
do you, again, in contrast to McMurphy, the question I asked him, do you think she's a bad person?
Yes.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
I think she is not working for the best interest of the patients. And I think that because she has that power over them, that makes her not a moral person and a bad person.
Right. Yeah. I tend to agree. I do see where she's coming from sometimes.
You have to maintain order. I get that.
Right, exactly. But yeah, she definitely
takes it too far.
Yeah.
She knows everybody's button, and she pushes them when she needs to, and that makes her bad.
She uses her power, and she gets off, I think, on that power.
She's not trying to heal. She's trying to maintain her power and that order.
Right.
That's her number one goal.
Because she could have got this headache of McMurphy gone a long time ago, but because all the doctors were saying when they were in that room, like, we're ready to give him back to the prison or whatever.
Yeah,
and
she kind of sees it as a challenge.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I can beat him.
Yeah.
I've beaten all these other men down. I can beat him down.
Yeah, it's... So yeah,
is there a sex thing there? Not sexual, but is there a man-woman play here? Because her assistant's also a woman, and I'm really just thinking of this off the top of my head. Is there a play here between being emasculated by a woman, a manipulative woman that has control of your life, that can? Yeah,
I think so. I think
especially for a guy like McMurphy.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. Because they could have made, or the book could have been written, or they could have made the movie about that. The doctor looking over him. But yeah, I think her being a female definitely adds to the conflict in the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it.
I can see how that would frustrate anybody, because we know Billy. Good old Billy, he's got a problem with his mom.
Mm-hmm.
There's a weird thing going on there.
Mommy issues. Yep.
She fills in for that. And maybe they all have, one of the characters got something going on with his wife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they all have sort of female problems.
Right.
And she's like the surrogate but boss. And that gets pretty weird, right?
Right, yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, even, back to the point of, is Nurse Ratched bad? I mean, even, Jack Nicholson brings up a good point about, she ain't honest. She doesn't, she likes a rigged game.
Yeah, well, that's what that makes me think of the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
Right, where he wants to watch TV and we're going to conduct a vote. Actually, you mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but do you remember that?
Yep. You're not going to say that now. It's that's actually when he says she likes a rigged game is right after that scene.
Yeah, because he wants to watch the World Series and we're going to take a vote. And then
she's being so structured about it. Like, oh, nope, it ended it here.
The vote's closed, Mr. McMurphy. It's over.
So yeah, we're going to get to so real quick, let's I know we're trying to be more free here, but I want to just get to how we get introduced to the characters, and that's kind of our number one is just that group therapy session. I think this is a great way to introduce the characters. It's not like any exposition. You just you learn their personalities. You learn who each one is. You learn who is why they're crazy, the reasons they're crazy. You kind of get that.
You're in the loony bin here. I mean, wow. I mean, the freakouts, the problems, the pettiness, everything is just amplified up to 10.
And we're Jack Nicholson in this scene. The audience is Jack Nicholson because this is his first time here. And
I'm in here with these freaks.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just watching as they talk. Mr. Harding. I love Mr. Harding, the mustache, and I love Cheswick too. I think Cheswick is an amazing actor. I don't know his name, but I think he did great.
And Harding's so funny because he seems like a very intelligent. Maybe he could be a professor. And he's speaking very smartly, and he's making sense, and all of a sudden he just loses it on some weird tangent, and you're like, wow, you are nuts.
Right, yeah, he's talking about his life. He's trying to talk, so he's using big words in front of them, and then he says he
gets hung up on one thing, and it's
I can only speculate on the existence of my life, and talks about he throws in big words like juxtaposition. And,
they're like, that's bullshit.
Chris Lloyd's like, what are you talking about? Christopher Lloyd in this movie, man.
I know, you don't expect him. And Danny DeVito, so always smiling, little Mr. Martini. I love Danny DeVito.
Oh yeah, he's great. But I like when Harding brings up the word peculiar, and they're all laughing at him like, oh, peculiar, like they're making fun of him for being a little intellectual to be able to think of these words and stuff. And I love just how they turn it around on him, like, oh, you're crazy, you're the
great stuff.
You're the weird one.
There's a decent amount of laughs, decent amount of comedic relief in this film, which is really much needed.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, it's totally needed because it's
really tense here.
Right. It's tense, but it's just
it's the way
it brings charm to the movie. I think because otherwise it could just be totally sour,
depressing,
and depressing.
Because it's 1975, so it doesn't look great.
Right.
Has a bit raw feel, and it looks old through most of the film.
Yeah.
So
the look wise,
just cinematography is not great. It doesn't, I mean, it's old, right? So
Yeah.
it just is what it is. Because a movie that's 40 years old, it's not gonna look right. But
Right.
but that humor kind of keeps your interest.
Yeah, the humor keeps your interest. I think it's just like the subject matter and everything. Also,
totally.
just,
It's a nice balance.
It's kind of timeless. It's just there's still medical practices today that are being brought to the forefront, and so like what how unethical they are, things like that.
Oh,
So I mean,
God.
it's got that whole.
What they used to do to people, if this is what they did, then wow.
I know.
I don't know what the answer is, but that was not the answer.
But yeah, let's love this moment. It just gives you a great, look into who these characters are, and I like how Harding's like, "Oh, you think I'm a little Marianne? How you think I'm a little Marianne?" And Nicholson's just like laughing at him. He's like, "Oh," like he like does that same motion again, like imitating him. Like he's just laughing at all of them.
Nicholson,
Just like,
McMurphy thinks he's like, I've struck gold here.
Yeah,
I'm just hanging out with these weirdos. This
Exactly.
is like no problem.
So yeah, it's good stuff. And then what's next? We get to. So yeah, I mean that's kind of our next is kind of the World Series, the World Series debacle, the World Series.
We're back to another group session, and it's time for the Summer Classic. And
Right.
Murphy wants to be able to watch it. There is a TV, but I don't know what the rules are exactly, but somehow it's either set or there has to be in order to change it to something that you want, you have to get a majority vote. And you cannot get this vote because the votes you need are left by people who are totally out of their minds.
Right.
Or vegetables.
Yep.
He gets his 9 votes. He needs a 10th, and he just needs someone to raise their hand. And then when he actually gets a guy to raise his hand, Nurse Ratched says, "No, time's up. Therapy's over. The vote was over, and you do not get a World Series." And McMurphy is not. Well, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say because she says time's up. Like she says, the meeting is adjourned while he's still trying to get votes. Like he's like doing his thing, so you can't really focus on what she's saying. Like
she's asserting herself.
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
I mean, he didn't really. Does it really matter to her that they all obviously anyone that has their eyes open and is conscious of the world around them voted to watch the World Series.
Right. Yeah.
And everyone who is a vegetable or is off in their own world.
Yeah.
They, what do they care? You don't need their vote.
Yeah, for you to say 9 votes isn't majority over the 18 people who are here when, those other 9,
They're not
like
watching
you said,
anything. I mean, they're barely maintaining anything.
Exactly. They can't even comprehend what you're talking about. So why would
they're
they?
not watching TV.
Exactly. Why would they even get a vote? So it's just like, again, this is where he talks about her, being like in a rigged game,
But like Murphy's going to have his own World Series.
Right, exactly. Oh, I love this. So yeah, he's like, this is, but yeah, that's the moment where he's like, you're not gonna say that now. You're not gonna say that now. Like this is where he's starting to get a little, crazy at her. Like just like the way, because before that, they're playing cards and everything, and he's kind of getting irritated at Martini because Martini keeps like wanting to bet a nickel and breaking cigarettes in half. He's getting annoyed at him because he can't hear. Like they have playing that loud music, and he's like, I can't even hear myself, and he like just goes around and shuts the music off, and Nurse Ratchet's like, you cannot be in here. He's like, oh well, I just wanted to turn it down because we can't hear ourselves think. And he's like, I will answer your question once you're outside. You cannot be in here. Right. Just like being so condescending and talking like down to him. Exactly.
At that point, yeah.
And he's just like, okay. So that's his first little glimpse of it, and then this whole World Series thing, and
it's great. He's doing play-by-play. Sandy Koufax is at the whatever.
So great. This is where the he's sulking, and you see the reflection of him in the TV, and I love like you said, Sandy Koufax, like he's not announcing that obviously.
It's great. He just invents a whole picture in a game, and everyone is enthusiastic. They're all cheering, and he's just like, it's a home run or whatever. It's hard to describe, but it's just a brilliant piece of acting.
Yeah,
you're like happy for everyone because they're happy for something.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's getting them involved. Like they're cheering. They might not necessarily know what they're cheering about, but they're like, oh, McMurphy's happy, so let's do it. Let's be happy.
So who's the better nurse here? Nurse McMurphy or Nurse Ratched.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like, look what he's doing for them. Like,
They
it's
should
just
hire
like,
him.
Yeah, you're not letting me watch it, but what did that accomplish? Look at you. Look, we're still having a good time. So,
Yeah.
I like that he gets his there. And
Absolutely.
But yeah, just this whole moment, just the way the music starts playing, like it's almost like hopeful music. Like it's just like it's a feel good moment in the film.
Oh, 100%.
And it's one of my favorite
You're cheering along with them.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of my favorite moments in film ever. So
you get emotional a little bit.
Exactly.
You get that like emotional laugh. You're happy.
Yeah. And because you already get the audience already has this feeling towards Nurse Ratched, like we don't like her. You know?
get a win over her.
So we get a win over her too. You know, us as the audience are the insane asylum people. Here.
Yeah.
But yeah, love that moment. Great moment.
I love it too, and then McMurphy he gains some confidence from this, and
exactly.
It's maybe time to take a little bit of a trip.
Yeah, let's go fishing. Yep. So yeah,
he gets in. They're in a bus, and he steals the bus and just takes off, basically, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're out playing basketball or something, or is that how that works?
Yeah. So yeah, they're just kind of in the courtyard and. He climbs on Chief's shoulders,
so
he's able to climb over the
Good
fence.
old Chief. We talk about Chief yet?
Yeah, no, we have not. We can, if you'd like.
Well, he's just a giant Indian who is...
Well, and Billy, at the beginning of the film, he's a deaf, dumb Indian.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, okay.
And that's what we get. And then McMurphy's trying to get something out of Chief, and Chief has not given him anything. He's not hostile, but he's not... talking, responding, understanding, wants to be bothered. Kind of interesting.
Right, yeah. I love the turn of his character, his whole arc. And real quick, again, I want to mention too, after that whole scene where he says she likes a rigged game, because he, hates her, she ain't honest, and they're talking about his mental illness, but this place is starting to make him crazy, because if you weren't crazy going into the ward, you're going to be crazy when you leave.
Yeah, but that's what you have that debate of
that's
what is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. What is crazy? Yeah, he's like, well, you want me to sit here, like, jacking off or
a lot of references to jerking off.
Yeah, exactly. But then the one guy asks, what does a rolling stone gathers no moss mean to you? And he makes a joke about it at first. Then he says, well, it's hard for something to stick on something that's moving. But I love at the end of that whole thing, he's like, well, do you have any questions for us? And then he just shows them the naked card. And
yeah.
Where do you suppose she lives? Good Nicholson moment there.
He's great. He just can throw a little line.
Yeah.
It's just much into it somehow. Yeah, he's amazing.
So good. But I just love it because he's like, he's silly and everything, but he can show those emotional moments just like he's a man going crazy. Like, are you kidding me that we can't watch the World Series after I just got the vote?
Yeah. So he's sort of in like a screw it mode here, and then he's like, let's just take a little trip.
Yeah.
Takes the bus. And they don't know where they're going.
Right.
He meets up with this girl in like a trailer park or something, and then they go to a dock and take a boat out. I mean, right?
Yeah, that's what they do. And I like how the guy working at the docks, like, who are you people? And he's, McMurphy says they're all doctors, and he introduced them all.
We're from like the mental institution. This is Dr. So-and-so, and this is Dr. Blah. And in a way, you kind of buy it. They're like almost, you can imagine like a psychiatrist just looking a little disheveled.
Right, yeah, like the guy with the big beard and stuff. It's like, oh, he's probably just,
smart. He's been in the hospital for 20 years. He's just focused on his work, and he looks a little weird.
Well, I like he's calling them all doctors. Then he gets to Harding. He's like, and there's Mr. Harding, and then the look on Harding's face.
Because he's probably the smartest one, like IQ-wise, of all of them.
Exactly.
So he gives a little dig on him.
I love how he calls him Mr. Hard-On, or calls him Hard-On all the time.
So I think this is really funny, but I think this is where the movie shows its age. Outside, this looks like a 1975 movie here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean again, it's
okay,
1970. And I think, does this movie take place? I think earlier though. I think it might take place in the 50s or something. But
because Koufax I think played in. I think it does take place a little bit earlier, but I don't know if that really matters about.
No,
the shot
I know. No, it's true.
The movie just looks a little bit old here, but it's really funny. I mean, one guy's supposed to steer, and he's like, just go straight. Can't do it.
Nope.
Just cannot. Just
Yeah, they
hold
can't
the
do
wheel.
this little task, and it's just like he's trying to teach them all to fish. It's just like he's teaching he's almost like a father figure to them here. He's just like a father trying to teach his kids how to fish. And
but
hook a line, and
he's sort of doing that, but he's also just trying to go bang the girl down below.
Well,
It's
yes, naturally, of course.
It's not really that he's wanting to help. He's like, here, just hold on to the wheel as I go have sex with my girl, who actually looks a little bit like Taylor Swift.
She does.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Yeah, that's like the third show in a row you've mentioned Taylor Swift, I think.
I've got a real obsession with her.
Yeah,
so.
makes sense. But but it's a fun moment. It's them going fishing. Even when he's interrupted from trying to bang the chick, he's
That's so funny.
he's helping them reeling the fish, and
He's
I
like
love
mad at them, but like not really.
Right,
He's just like
exactly.
yelling at them like you'd yell at like a family member or
right,
something.
exactly.
What are you doing, you idiot? It's like
Yeah, I love it. It's just a heartwarming moment in the movie, and I love that when they're getting back to the dock and the doctors are all standing there, and you got all
And the
the
cops,
guys.
yeah.
But I like when the two guys are holding the huge fish. They got these huge smiles on their faces. They're like
They're
little
so
kids.
proud.
They're like, look what we got. It's just wonderful. I love it.
and that's another thing we mentioned earlier about the environment that you're in, and these guys get to go outside and like really outside, not like within a fence at a basketball court. They get to go experience real things, nature,
Right.
and obviously it helps their sanity. So it's like, are you really helping these people by keeping them confined into this place?
Right,
It's very
yeah.
inhumane. It's almost like keeping an animal in a cage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially how they're they even mentioned a little later how their dorm is locked during the day. It's just like, why? We're free men, like especially
Yeah.
the ones who are here voluntarily. It's like
It's nuts.
I like how one of them brings up she's saying well, if we didn't lock it up, you guys would just go to bed right after breakfast, and it's therapeutic to want to talk to to be around everybody. And then the one guy says, so you mean to say it's sick to want to be off by yourself? It's a good call from a guy who's institutionalized for mental issues, and he's the one that's has a head on his shoulders.
Should be
and is
normal
able
to want
that.
to have a little alone time, right?
Exactly.
And the other thing too I want to mention about that whole like debate about what's crazy and what's not. There's a moment here. I think they're doing another group therapy session with the cigarette where they take the cigarette from one of the guys.
Yeah.
And it ends up in Christopher Lloyd's like pants.
Right. Yeah.
He doesn't know. They don't know. And then eventually it burns him. Like really, I can imagine that hurting really bad.
Yeah.
And he's a bit exaggerated because he's not completely formed mentally.
Right. Yeah.
But he's clearly in pain.
Right.
Nobody knows why he's screaming. He's screaming because he's got a freaking cigarette burn on his ankle.
Right. Yeah.
You interpret that as crazy and him having a flip out. In actuality, he's in physical pain.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe he's exaggerating a bit like a child would. But that really, I don't know, that bothered me, that scene, because he's just like, he doesn't know why he's in pain. He's freaking out a little bit. And everyone just, like take a breath for a second. But no, you've been deemed crazy.
Right.
So now we can just grab you and do what we want with you because you're like in this category of crazy.
Yeah. And that's actually, this movie hits me now more so too now. My son has nonverbal autism. And, when he's upset, he's, screams, but not because sometimes he's being a brat and he's a kid, but
all kids
not
are
because
brats.
but sometimes he's legitimately screaming because he can't communicate how he's really feeling, like how he can't communicate his feelings. So it seems like, oh, what's wrong with this kid? He's just smack him, like what's he doing? Like, but he doesn't have the mental capability of expressing his true feelings. Just like in this situation, it's like, oh, he's deemed crazy because he's acting this way. It's just sad. It's and this is how things were. I mean, even people with autism were institutionalized back in the day. Because I mean, granted, you didn't have the knowledge we have now, but yeah, it's sad that so many people in the past have had to have gone through this.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
when people put that label on you, that's tough to shake.
Right.
For all these guys, and many of them, given the right circumstance or environment or something, they probably could maybe survive in a normal society. They just need the right help.
Right.
They're not getting it.
Yeah.
And like you said with the example of your son, you could react in a way maybe justifiably, I guess, without the right knowledge or just not understanding what he's doing or something, and you can react really harshly.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not nice.
Right. Yeah.
He's a person too, and he's trying to convey something to you.
Right.
And it's kind of on you to figure out what that is, or at least to not be mean.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like try to be understanding and try to figure out what's the
reason.
Yeah, exactly. Like what's the root of this? Not just let's beat this guy because he's freaking out. Let's
you've got to. This behavior is bad, and we need to just stop it immediately.
Right.
We don't care why or how or how we can prevent it in the future or deal with it better next time or something like that. When it's just freaking his leg is burning and he's in pain and he doesn't know why.
Right.
Instead, we're just gonna haul him off for what
Yeah, and then meanwhile you got Cheswick freaking out. There's this huge commotion just about because she took his cigarettes away. This is again, this is the start, and then this is
I want my cigarettes.
I want my cigarettes. Cheswick. So this is them. The other patients starting to challenge Nurse Ratched's authority. This is
McMurphy
again
is rubbed off on his attitude. He's like his sort of I can do anything I want attitude. They're like, what? You can do that?
Yeah, because this is when that one guy says it's sick to want to be by yourself, and that's the same guy who's in Amadeus. He's at the very beginning. He's
that's a face you can't forget. That guy.
Not so much. But
I just wish I was like a really ugly person and that I could be in a movie. Maybe with this face I can, but
this is this all starts because McMurphy brings up about how you guys were letting me harass Nurse Ratched all this time when you knew she had the power to do this. So he's kind of upset at them too. At this point, he wants to get that off his chest, and that's kind of how this whole debacle starts, and that's why Cheswick's like, I'm an adult, give me my cigarettes, I'm no child, and he starts freaking out, and that's when the the workers come in and take him away.
Yeah.
And, during the time him screaming, McMurphy goes in, punches the glass, and he's like, here's your cigarettes. Like, he's just like had it. Like, he's starting to go nuts at this point.
He's almost just like, I want to help these people, and here's a way I can help them, but you're telling me I can't really help them.
Right.
So it's like, if it's within my power to do it, I will. That's like, he just wants a freaking cigarette. Give him his cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like, don't make him, he's obviously having a problem, right? I don't want to call him like an infant, but in a way he's just at that point where he just wants something and he's fixated on it. Just give it to him, right?
Exactly.
He's not learning, he's not like, you need to, if he learns to sit, or you make him try to sit for 10 more minutes and then you give it to him, that's not going to help. Just give it to him.
Exactly. And I think this is when McMurphy he finds out that they're all a lot of them are voluntary.
That was a crazy reveal to me.
Yeah, it's just like, really? Like, it's just, but at the same time, if they're voluntary, why are they getting treated, still the same way as someone who's, forced there?
Well, they think they need it, and then someone like Ratched is going to make sure that they always think they need it.
Yeah.
Her job isn't to graduate them per se, I guess.
Well, and even he says, like, there's crazy assholes on the street I see all the time. You guys are no crazier than them. Like, again, it brings up the question of sanity. What's sanity? Like, who's, mentally ill, who's not? It's just like, again, he's liberating them in a way. But,
yeah, absolutely. He is like, he's like their champion in a sense.
But we get to a moment where, McMurphy sees them taking away Cheswick and he doesn't like it. So he tries to intervene and he gets in a fight with the guards. And then the guards punch, they're punching him. They got him held down, and that's Chief jumps in. This is the first, kind of human moment of Chief because this is after they played basketball and he teach Chief how to play, and Chief is actually playing along this time. Great. Love that moment. But Chief comes to save the day. But they take all three of them away, and they're all kind of waiting there, and they're about to get electroshocked.
So I didn't know this was coming, and man, this is Milos Forman does a great job here because he really drags this out.
Yeah,
and he really sets it up well.
Definitely.
They're sitting in a hallway. They're on another floor. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is like whatever that floor is, which they know it's like bad. It's like the bad floor. Whatever
right.
It is,
Another realm of crazy people.
Oh God, they're they're all way nuts. Yeah. They're not functional at all. These people.
Right.
And then, so they're sitting there talking to some other guys. They're witnessing. You're seeing like some screaming going down the hall, and then McMurphy, he's sort of calmed down and he's sort of nice.
Yeah.
And they bring him in the room, and there's like 4 people in there with him, and they're like talking to him, and he's really calm. He's like, yeah, he's laughing, he's joking. He's got no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was coming. And they start holding him down, and they put the straps on him, and he's joking. He's like, hey, Doc. I don't know. He's just cracking jokes. I don't know exactly what he's saying.
Little dab will do you.
Yeah, a little dab will do you. They put the things on his temples, and she's like, bite on this. He's like, whoa. What? Bite on what? Why? And then he starts freaking out, and then they give him the and he's shaking, and I'm like, this isn't right.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's powerful stuff.
It's straight punishment as far as I see this.
And I don't know. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. What's
he's calm,
the point?
He's done.
Right. Yeah.
This is nothing but to just screw with him.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
and to hurt him.
It's sad.
It's demented.
It's so
That's
sad.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That is crazy. Like, yeah. What? How could a sane person put someone through this and make them think it's gonna do good?
This isn't a help. This is mean. This is cruel.
It's just on an acting standpoint. Just him like getting shocked and like convulsing and like it's just like, man, how could someone pull that off? Like what?
That whole scene is worth the price of admission.
Even right before that, Cheswick is sitting with them and he's getting taken away. He's like acting like a little 3-year-old. Like no,
you don't know
like,
why.
And you're just like, oh my God, like what's
He's probably
happening?
Had it before,
right? Yeah,
this isn't his first rodeo.
So sad.
Yeah, the screaming and because what that I don't know what that is, what that feels like.
Yeah, I kind of want to look that up, like why they thought that worked, that electroshock.
It seems so painful and just. You can't control your body, and that's actually. Have you ever seen the show Homeland?
I have not. Yeah, it's one I keep meaning to get around to.
I've seen the first, I think, 3 seasons, and I think they're on season 7 now. I kind of dropped off because I lost interest, but it was really good in the beginning. Anyways, it stars Claire Danes,
right?
She's a nutcase in her own right,
really.
And actually, in one of she's so nuts, she just has I think manic depressive or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
And then at one point at the end of the season, she goes so crazy she voluntarily gets electroshock therapy.
Really?
Yeah.
So is that still like a real thing where people can voluntarily do it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
But
wow.
This is obviously without consent.
Man.
And really, I don't know the power that they have over him to do all this stuff. I almost feel like I want to be like his lawyer.
Yeah, I know.
Because like what? So once you go into that building, they could just do whatever the hell they want,
like experiments if they wanted to. And
I mean, it's like this is not right.
Yeah, it makes you question. Yeah, what kind of power do hospitals and doctors have? That's a good point. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's sad.
So intense.
It's really sad.
Just in the setup too. It's. I mean, as far as filmmaking goes, it's perfection.
Right.
But it's so good that it really kind of screws with your mind.
Yeah, it really does.
I feel so bad.
Yeah, it's rough. And then, so yeah, I mean, and then right before that, that's when they're after Cheswick goes, he offers Chief juicy fruit, and that's when you hear Chief talk for the first time.
Yeah, he speaks.
Juicy fruit.
He can speak all the time.
And then
he's been holding out on us.
Yeah, exactly. He can hear too. He's not deaf, and he says something about Canada, and then that's when we first find out they're going to try to plot an escape. And I mean, that whole electroshock, I like when he gets back from the electroshock, he kind of acts all like out of it, like a vegetable or something, and then
he's like stumbling around, like almost like a zombie or something like that,
right?
And they're doing their group therapy, and they're all looking at him like, oh, McMurphy's fried. And he's just screwing with all of them.
Right, yeah.
It's such a great moment for the audience,
Yeah,
because it's such an intense thing that you just saw. And then he's still McMurphy. He's still Murph.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, they give me 10 watts a day. Any woman that comes across me will light up like a pinball machine.
And you get the laughs by the other guys. And I don't know what that is, but just to see them all laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
And they're all excited. Murph's back.
He's their hero. He's the champion.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's great. And then, he tells, Nurse Ratched he's gentle as a puppy, and they get on with their therapy session, and he's just kind of staring at her. And they do a lot of zoom ins with the camera, which is a nice touch.
Yeah.
Then Nurse Ratched leaves for the night, Talks, he talks with Chief while they're sleeping there. I like this little moment too here is when he's talking to Chief because he says he's going to escape. Chief tells him, you're bigger than me. And then he's like, what are you talking about? You're, as big as they come. He's like, yeah, but you're bigger than me. You're big like my father. You got a big personality. You're, braver than me.
Yeah, Chief feels small. He's like, 7 feet tall. And
right.
He feels small.
Right, exactly.
He doesn't assert himself in the world.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't know if he has the strength to get out of this place.
Yeah.
Talks about his father and how when he drank from the bottle, he didn't suck from it. The bottle sucked from him, sucked the life out of him because he was a big man. And he kept talking about they're working on him. They're working on him the way they're working on you. Which I want to get to maybe in the question segment, how you interpret that. Did you have anything?
I really don't have an answer to that. No, I thought kind of the same thing. I didn't really know exactly what he meant by that.
I looked it up a little. It looks like in the book they brought that up a little more. I think it's just like people who are going against oppression. Who are advocates of change, things like that. How McMurphy he's not an advocate. He's kind of doing it inadvertently. He is going against oppression.
Yeah, because this is something about
people are going to work on those people who, like big politicians and things are going to be like, no, like shove them out, like, and, going to work on them until they can't take it anymore, until they.
Yeah, I can see that. And, this is not just about mental institutions. This is almost like, a big government or
right. Yeah.
any situation where people in power are abusing that power. It doesn't just apply to this situation. It applies to any situation. It could be a government. It could be a boss. It could be a family member. Any sort of like hierarchy like that where people who are responsible for you are abusing that responsibility. So yeah, I guess, you want to knock down the people that are fighting that system. So I could see it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of deep stuff, that you could really, dive deep into. It's a shame we don't have a podcast or something we could.
I know we could actually really, talk about it,
dissect it.
Maybe one day,
maybe someday. But that's just something I wanted to bring up quickly there, because there's definitely deep moments. Again, we don't have all night, folks. All right, then they get to Chief or McMurphy kind of plotting in his escape.
Well, I love you're arguing with the audience. I don't know what.
I don't know. It's just I can hear them.
Actually, we have all night.
Get into it.
We'll go 5 hours.
Yes, we will. All right, let's start with the color of Murphy's clothes. All right, so he's plotting his escape, and he calls. Nurse Ratched leaves. He calls for his girl to come pick him up.
Yeah, 2 girls this time.
2 ladies.
He even offers one to the watchman.
The watchman, the guard, he's like, well, what else would they offer besides bottles? They can offer something else.
A little bit of
So, but anyway, he's about to leave, and then Billy's like, I'm going to miss you. I don't want you to go. Yeah. And McMurphy's like, let me give you one last present before I go. Offers to let his lady friend sleep with Billy.
Yeah, she's not loose or slutty at all.
No, it's just just
jump into a room with a mental patient.
Yeah, helping out
whatever
someone.
You need.
Helping him out.
Just a little, like a handshake.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, sure. Why not?
But good for Billy.
Well done, Billy. Well done.
Yeah, Billy does what he needs to do here.
But it leads to something.
We're all very happy for Billy.
We're all very happy for Billy. Yep, this is a night of partying.
Yeah, the plan here was to have a little bit of fun, and then McMurphy was going to run off with these girls, right? And whoever else was going to come with him.
This is where I think McMurphy does become a good person. Like or selfless in a way. Because he was impulsive and selfish before, but now he's like, he could have left right then. But he's like, he stays back. He stays back for Billy.
Yeah, I have to maybe change that because the character changes here. And actually, this is my question, which we'll get into. But my question is, I'll just say it now.
Yeah, it's a loose segment.
Why does he stay? Because he wakes up the next morning with the window open, and he sort of awakes, like not really sure where he is or why he's still there. But he definitely consciously stays.
Yeah.
He didn't just get drunk sloppily and just pass out.
Even when Nurse Ratched sends Billy over to the room and stuff, he could have totally left, and he was about to leave.
Could have left at any point, really, when the girls came. And he stays overnight and through the next day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the way, it's him, finally
he's with them, and
he's with them.
Doesn't want to abandon them.
Yeah, I think it's, and actually, I think it's a lot. There's a lot of biblical things. That I was reading some stuff that he was kind of like the Jesus of the story. Like they were like his followers, his disciples. How they kind of followed him, especially when he first arrived. Like they all walk away from the table as he walks away. And it's just him like saying, "I will be with you."
Oh, that's really deep. That's interesting.
It is deep stuff. There's other stuff too that I read that people were bringing up, and it was just like some.
Did any of the apostles get laid?
Peter, man,
he was always getting laid. so Billy gets his gets what he needs done. It wakes up the next morning, and because Nurse Ratchet's like, what the hell's going? I mean, they wake up to everything is wrecked,
right?
I mean, destroyed, right? This is like a total frat party, or just a mental patient party. They go to find Billy, and he's laying in that room with the girl.
Yep.
And this next thing with Nurse Ratchet, now she doesn't just punish him. She goes to the heart.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm going to tell your mother.
Yeah. And
what's your mother going to think about what you did, Billy?
And he says in a stuttering voice, you don't have to tell her. You don't have to tell her. And
she's just hurting him.
Yeah. Me and your mom are old friends. Of course I have to tell her.
What's your mother going to think about how you behave, Billy?
It's just like, what are you doing? Like, do you think she's doing this for McMurphy too here?
She's just... Yeah. I mean, she's trying to punish anyone in any way she can,
right.
I think. And it's going to hurt everybody, but especially Billy. He gets sent off to the doctor's office.
Yeah.
He's screaming. I mean,
oh my God. Yeah. Hitting himself.
Screaming his head off, punching himself, going nuts. And
it's rough to watch. It's, because he's like, no. Like, it's just, this guy, he also got nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Very deservedly so. Brad Dourif. But that whole scene, just him like, you don't have to tell her. You don't have to tell her. And she said, "Are you ashamed?" And he said, "No, I'm not ashamed."
But just
and that's him, kind of sticking up for him. And then he even, unfortunately, he rats out McMurphy a little, saying it was him. But he's like,
I don't blame him for that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's
being abused. He just wants the pain to end.
Exactly. And just Nurse Ratchet just keeps going. It's just like, it's rough. And then
a couple of minutes later.
Yep. Right when McMurphy's about to escape, the guy's like, don't do it. He's got a belt around his thing, and then you hear a scream, and then that guy goes. McMurphy could have left right then. He had total open shot to leave. But, obviously Billy is in some sort of pain and some sort of trouble. You walk in, you notice that he slit his throat.
There's blood everywhere.
Yeah, there's blood.
His throat with a piece of glass. This is really sad for me.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
I found this to really be difficult and very sad.
Yeah.
This was, I don't know why this bothered me so much, but I felt really sad.
Because, he's a likable character, he's kind of the kid of the story. He
had like that boyishness. It's very, I think maybe because it's so senseless.
Right.
It just didn't need to happen. It was so preventable. So he had sex with a girl and like, so what?
Right.
And you're going to upset him to the point that's going to drive him to suicide.
Right. Especially since that he's already capable of that, because that's why he's in there in the first place. He asked some
you're
girl
going to leave him
marry.
alone?
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like she knew.
Right. Yeah. It's like...
Right?
Yeah. Like
you put him in a room by himself.
Like,
why does he need to go wait there?
Are you in it so much for McMurphy that you are willing to sacrifice this kid? Like,
hurt everybody?
Right. Exactly.
And that anger, that sadness turns to anger.
Right.
And represented by McMurphy strangling Nurse Ratchet.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And I want her to die.
Yeah, I know. And you feel what McMurphy feels like.
She killed Billy. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Right. Yeah, this is the final straw. You did this.
That's a suicide, officially, but she killed him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's 100% responsible for his death. And I think she deep down even knows that, and she's fine with that because before he chokes her, she even says, she closes the door. I think it's best that we all go about our normal day. And then that's when Another just amazing acting by Jack Nicholson. You feel what he's feeling just by body language.
Yeah,
You see that look in his eye.
All of it. I mean, we get,
God.
so just, to recap, we get Billy having sex with this girl. The next morning, they're all cheering for him, and it's a really nice, proud of him moment.
Right.
And then she just digs into him.
Right.
Sends him off. He freaking kills himself because he's so scared.
Right.
She touches on his most vulnerable part of his psyche. Kills himself, and then Jack Nicholson, please kill Nurse Ratched.
Right.
Can't. They pull him off.
Yep.
Drag him off. Actually, we don't really see what happens here. It just
They
moves
knock him
to
out
next,
somehow. Yeah.
We move to the next scene.
Next scene is them kind of in their routine again. This time they're playing cards, but they're betting cigarettes. They're kind of taking on what McMurphy
The lights are
taught
kind of
them.
down, right?
Yeah, I think so. Nurse Ratched has a neck brace on. And they're kind of telling stories about McMurphy. Oh, he escaped. It's saying he escaped.
They're like, now he's upstairs.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, exactly. Then
You
it
don't
goes.
know,
Yeah, you don't know. And then it goes. It's nighttime now. Everyone's sleeping. You see a couple of guards taking McMurphy in. He's kind of slowly walking, and you see Chief notice him laying in bed. He's like, "All right, hey, McMurphy, let's get out of here." And he's saying some stuff. And then he notices some scars on Mac's forehead.
This is rough.
Yeah. Obviously.
And by all seemingly, he's been lobotomized.
Yep.
Ugh.
It's just like, what? Why not just send him back to prison? Like, he's obviously a criminal. Okay, he attacked. It's assault. Like a normal person on the street who chokes out someone.
Back to jail.
Gonna go to jail.
Yeah, you don't just go and dig out something out of their brain.
Right. And that goes to your point about just like, so anyone who's in here, like they have the authority to do whatever they want.
Do whatever they want.
Like it's just,
you're in these walls and we can just, maybe we'll just take your arm off or do something. It's like, what the heck?
Right.
It's such a violation of your humanity, right?
Yeah.
To just be able to do that. And he's now basically a vegetable.
Right.
This is a man who's the most lively, kind of crazy guy you've ever seen.
Right.
Who's been reduced to a vegetable. And
yeah,
that sucks.
And that's no life. And then that's when Chief mercifully,
he understands,
takes his life because he says, I'm taking you with me. We're gonna escape. I'm taking you with me, and basically meaning, he's taking his spirit, his soul with him. Because he's not the thing. The heartless thing to do would just to be leave him there, his body there, just vegging out the rest of his days, however long that would have been at that point.
Horrible, just horrible stuff.
Yeah.
There is something good here.
Yeah, I mean, you get hopefulness at the end. So you get so Chief, suffocates him with the pillow, which is
kind of brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal. But do you agree that he would do that? I mean, do you think that
his
was
life
merciful?
is over, especially for someone like McMurphy, who is so lively, so in charge of himself, even though he's crazy a little bit, but someone that is just living life to his fullest, even though it's not always the best decision, and then to just reduce him down to just this animal, basically, right? I mean, I think that is humane. I think that's if he had a choice, that's the choice he would have chose, right? Just put me out of my freaking misery is what he would have said.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough stuff. But then it cuts to Chief picking up that fountain that McMurphy earlier on in the film was trying to lift to. He said, "I'm gonna pick up this thing, throw it through the window, and go to a bar to watch the series." You guys with me? They're all telling him it's impossible. It's impossible. Yeah. No one could lift that thing.
Yeah, because McMurphy tried to do it earlier and just failed miserably.
But yeah, I mean, this last moment is kind of just his lasting his inspiration of hope that he gave. It is possible. Things are possible that you think are impossible.
Yeah, he became big. He became himself in a sense.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, that's just a symbolic moment there of him, throwing the fountain through the window, running, and then you see Chris Lloyd wake up and just see. I love the score. Yeah, he's cheering, just he kind of symbolizes the whole group, like how they would feel about this. Like they kind of feel like, McMurphy's spirit is living on because he was able to escape.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And this is actually the same music we get from the very beginning. They're playing this back again.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just amazing just what McMurphy was able to bring to this group. I mean, even if it was inadvertent, he wasn't necessarily trying to make change or anything for them. He came here selfishly in a way. But yet he was able to bring life to these guys and liberate them. And that's one of the messages I love about this movie is just living life to the fullest. And
absolutely. And even, I don't know, I guess it's like when, his star burned brightly and then it faded out. I guess even that was, maybe worth it
right.
in a way. I mean, he's like a revolutionary, and those types don't usually last very long.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe he did something. He inspired one man, and maybe he inspired. Maybe the aftermath of this is the voluntaries. Maybe get some other inspiration to take control of their own life because they're obviously being beaten down and kept there.
Right. Yeah.
They're not really allowed to leave, even though you are.
Yes, and they're not.
He
not
showed
really
them
living.
what life can be.
Right, exactly, and that's another comparison people have made. The symbol of Jesus is that he inspire kind of sacrificed himself for them.
Yeah, for their sake.
Yeah, for their
be
sake.
an example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I can actually totally see that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, definitely read up on that because there's a lot of points. It's just like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah,
like he performed miracles. Like he made a chief talk. Like he was made a mute speak. Like he. I think there was a moment where Billy, right after he got out from having sex with the woman, he was not stuttering for a little bit until Nurse Ratched went at him, so he stopped him from stuttering. Like it's some deep stuff. I was like, wow, I never noticed that before.
That's great.
But yeah, again, I just love the inspiration of life. Celebrating life, to its fullest, and not just not lulling through life like they were in the beginning, like just doing their normal routine, just mundane things.
That's misery.
Like it's about disrupting that and questioning, and not just, going by what people tell you, think for yourself. So
fantastic.
So yeah,
outstanding movie.
Yeah,
I'm glad we did this one.
It's great. Yeah,
it's really good. I don't. Did you have questions on this?
No, I mean that whole
we kind of went through it.
The chief thing. Yeah. So no, you.
No. I'm ready to give a rating.
All right, what you got?
I got 4 stars.
Nice.
And 2.5 buckets of popcorn.
Okay.
I didn't find it particularly entertaining. It also is a bit aged, but it's a fantastic subject material. The acting is so good. The direction is so good. This is one I'd almost like to see it be remade if it could be done possibly in a good way. Just to like bring this story to. I'm not saying I want it to be remade, but just I wish this one. I don't know that this story is getting the audience that it should get. I guess this would have been amazing in 1975 when it came out. And I don't know that anyone's going back to this movie is kind of my point. I would like this sort of story to be told to someone else.
Yeah, I think it's important. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it has a really good an important message.
Yeah.
Especially this day and age. So,
it's a special movie, I think. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a classic. I hope more people would see it and encourage all of you guys, if you haven't, to please go see it. It's definitely worth it. It's really not a long movie. It's really good. The acting is so good. It's a really powerful film.
Yeah, it sucks you in. That's for sure. I give it 4.5 stars and 2.5 buckets of popcorn.
Okay.
Yeah, just because it is tough to watch sometimes. Not just from a its old standpoint. It's just it takes a lot of emotion out of you. It's like the whole Billy scene. The whole
it's very challenging movie.
Yeah, exactly. And
you have to kind of grapple with these issues. There's really, you get the laughs in there, but. There's not a real great payoff here, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's why, just a little less entertainment value, but just quality-wise, 4.5 stars. So, I love this film. It's a movie I go back to a lot, just because it means a lot to me. It's been a movie that's been with me since an early age. So,
well, thank you, Milos Forman.
Yeah, I know, man. Jeez, he's I didn't realize how effective his films were. And there's Dave's crumbling of his notes once again. All right, folks. Well, there we have it. I don't know what our next shows will be, but hey, there'll be something. We'll do something.
We will have a show.
We'll have a show.
We'll come up with something. If you guys have any ideas, shoot us something on Twitter.
Yeah, definitely. And where can they follow you on Twitter?
You can follow me at Dave_Quist.
I am at BCcore. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and at BlockbusterCast. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube.
Please do
review
so.
us.
Yeah.
Leave comments, but not just to leave comments, but to have conversations with us. We'd love to talk to you about film.
Absolutely.
Love doing that with you guys on Twitter. All right, folks. Well, that is it for us. Dave, you got anything else?
Not at all.
All right. Well, folks, as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys
At the movies.